In the book, The Cost of Discipleship, Pastor Bonhoeffer opens the book with the theme of cheap grace. And what Bonhoeffer says cheap grace is more or less a superficial calling of being a Christian. Or what you can say in modern language is, being cheap grace is basically just being a Christian by name only. There is no true obedience to God. There is no true discipleship to Jesus. It's just being called a Christian to check off a box. Now again, we know that we are saved by the grace and love of Jesus Christ and what he did on the cross. But we need to make sure we are not falling into this theme of cheap grace where we are only Christian by name only. And the reason why is Bonhoeffer says later in his book that cheap grace is the true enemy of the church. Because if you have a bunch of people in a church that is really just Christian by name only, they fall into bad habits. They fall into following people who aren't true Christians, false teachers, and so on, and you stop listening to God. Bonhoeffer wrote this book, The Cost of Discipleship, when the Nazi Empire was starting to grow. And he wrote this book because he saw his fellow German pastors fall into following the Nazi Empire. And he was one of the few people who would stand up against them. We must be true disciples of Jesus and stand up for wrong and not fall into this cheap grace. Thank you.